Anyway, so of course there's a chainsaw going in the background. That's just the way it goes. So I elected not to go with just lap belts in this car, just because they're dangerous. And in this day and age, with all these people on their phones, texting and not driving, and the power level of this car is, it needs at least 3-point belts. So I went with some Seatbelt Solutions 3-point belts, and they are available through Classic Industries. Not sponsored, of course, but I do frequent their website quite a bit for this restoration. I'm going to show you how to install them, because they don't come with instructions. And on the Seatbelt Solutions website, they actually don't have, they have a Mopar section, but there's none listed under that category. So I actually had to call and get them to send me instructions. I know it's silly to need instructions for a seatbelt, but I wanted to make sure I was installing them correctly. So anyway, here's what we have here. So I want to get you guys in the spot where you can see. So we have just your typical retractor here. We have this guy, which, so basically, let's see if we get this set up right. I just have my bolts just kind of loosely in place here. So this guy, sorry, it's kind of a pain. I think, so I've already done the other side. So I'm gonna show how this goes. So you're gonna use your stock hardware, and I'm gonna line these guys up like this. So it's basically gonna go like this. Hopefully you can see that. And this is gonna be on this side. And I'm just gonna loosely install these for the second here, just to get them in place. Make sure I'm not flipped up or flipped over the wrong way. Oh, see, I did that wrong. Yeah, I wouldn't don't tighten anything until you have it all straightened out, because the belts have the ability to flip over, and then you're going to be in a pickle if you tighten them down. You'll have to come back to it. So this is going to be this way. Yeah, so these guys they're a reasonable option. They have several universal options. These ones actually looked as close to stock as I could find on the website, and I'm trying to look as OEM stock as possible within reason. Of course, if you watched any of my other videos, you know, we're not gonna, we'll go to the extent to make this car look as OEM as possible, but within reason. I mean, I'm not trying to enter any contests or be judged by any sort of crazy Mopar judges. That's not what we're about here. So you got this guy here. So our belt buckle is going to be there, and then this guy goes. So this car didn't come with these seat belts or 3-pointers that I know of, or they weren't included in this car when I bought it. So I had to come up with a fine thread. I believe that's 7/16 fine thread, and just a thick washer. And so you take this sleeve, it comes with a sleeve, and you put that buckle, the silver buckle, through the top. And use your bolt. You want to make sure your bolt is not too short. And this is kind of unconventional, but I think it's necessary for a seatbelt to have a lock washer or some sort of locking thread locker on it. I chose this lock washer, but I'm actually going to put it, because the lock washer is slightly too big, I'm going to put it underneath my washer. It's going to do the exact same thing, same outcome anyway. And go up to here where I can see the threaded insert is for a 3-point belt. This is a kind of interesting how that some of the cars have had them, some of them didn't. Kind of weird, but I'm glad the provisions are here. This car is an early, I just found out because I just ordered a windshield wiper motor, and I just found out that the car is actually an early 60s, 69, so I think it's February of 69 was the born on date for this particular car. So yeah, maybe they did halfway through 69. I'm not sure if it was an option on if you ordered one of these cars, but either way, this car didn't have them. So basically, this is going to be the way it's going to go. So now we got those guys hanging, and I noticed up here you want to actually pull this sleeve up and over, and so that cover actually gets captured between the bracket that we're bolting on. Otherwise it won't be able to go up and all the way around the bolt head. So when we tighten that, and so that's basically the way it goes. You can see that one over there, it's basically the same thing. But yeah, the instructions are basically like a half page, so it's real straightforward stuff, but you just don't know what these people intend on with their product. So I always get the instructions just to make sure we're not doing anything the wrong way. Now, I found this part to be the most time consuming because of how deep the jute padding is underneath this carpet to the tunnel where the threaded inserts are, or the anchors rather. Where's my bolt? Okay. Huh. That's weird. So that guy. Hold on. I think I left it over on the toolbox. Yeah, I was sizing those anchor bolts for the roof. So you see how there's trim, or kind of a design on this side of the receiver. That, to me, would seem like that was supposed to go like outward this way, but it's actually the other way around. So I think the design is intended for intended to be seen from this side over, so that's why they put that channel or decorative channel in there. So got my stock seat bolt here, freshly restored, and a little trick to getting these guys started, because the jute padding is so thick, is jam a bunch of masking tape in your shallow socket. Don't use a deep one, use a shallow. This is a 13/16, so that'll fit your factory seatbelt bolts. But I basically jammed it in there to about, I don't know, 3/4 of the depth of the socket, and what that does is it prevents the head of the bolt from traveling back this way and not allowing you to get the threads in the bracket on the tunnel. So it's a little tricky. It might fight you a little bit, but it's the best way, in my opinion, to get this done. Now watch me not be able to get it done because the camera's rolling, but that's just the way it goes. So I have my tape here in case I need to add any more, but got that guy. Might take you a couple tries. get it. No, see? Add a little more tape. So make that 7/8 of the depth of your socket. You want to fill it with masking tape. You could use just about anything, a paper towel or whatever you have, but masking tape was convenient, so I used that. So I'm basically just filling it, doing another 4 little quad. God, these dogs are killing me. Okay, let's try this again. So no washer. I'm just trying to get in there with the most threads as I can. And there we go. Yeah, so it doesn't help that I put the insulation down too, but it just is part of the deal, I guess. But you can usually feel the bolt getting into the threads. There we go. I think that's it. There we go. And if you have stock floor pans, I would highly recommend putting at least a tap through there just to clear out all the rust and corrosion from over the years. But these floor pans are brand new, so they're just fine. They just have e-coating and paint on them. Now these guys are going to be kind of at an angle. And you notice I have the curve inward. This curve goes that way, so it kind of curves out this way. So but you can see on the other side the trim, or how they put that design in there. So, and of course the belt latches that way. So yeah. And then once we have these guys tightened up, we're ready to move on to the dash. I want to wrap that dash up here in the next segment so I can get this windshield installed and I can actually drive this thing around without my motorcycle goggles on. Make sure you tighten these guys. And I forgot the washer. Let's put this guy here. And if you don't have your stock seatbelt hardware, I would highly recommend trying to find some. And if you can't, you want to buy obviously the same thread, but see how there's a shoulder on that? That's intended there to have this be able to move freely. And if it can't move freely, it's going to start tearing up your upholstery, and it won't be easy to buckle in. So you got to make sure that once you get your seats put back in the car, you want to just give them another look to make sure they're in the right spot. Otherwise it won't be comfortable, and you'll have to replace some upholstery, unfortunately, if it gets tied up, cut. So there's no like 1, 2, 3 steps in building cars. It seems like it's just constant having to readjust and redo things and check things over and over and over. It's It's definitely not an exact science. But so what I was saying, if you can't find any seatbelt hardware, I would just recommend using a fully threaded bolt, but with Loctite, so they don't come out. Because you can leave the bolt loose with thread locker. See how that's tight, and I can still move it. That's what I'm talking about. So, all right, now this guy here. I don't know if you guys can see this very well. Okay, so now we have this guy up here. Now this stuff bends pretty easily. You just want to make sure you get that lip underneath that bracket before you go tighten it all the way. Now that that's captured, put this guy over there and it looks good. See? All right, moving on. We're making progress. I'm gonna pull this steering column down and get this dash rolled forward so we can install the dash pad, the headlight switch, make sure double check our wiring, routing, maybe loom some stuff up and get everything tied up, because once I have the windshield in, I won't be able to get the dash back out unless I pull the windshield, and nobody wants to do that. So so yeah, see you in a few.